I am Mark Stewart. I am a candidate for the vice presidential nomination of this Libertarian Party. Provisional nominee, I will get to that in a different video. The two things I want to emphasize here to you are that we should, one, go big, and two, go conservative, which I define as, for domestic purposes, conservative equals libertarian. They are one and the same on domestic policy. It is everything that statists are not. Incidentally, it's what every true Republican voter wishes they had. They wish they had us. We're not in their party yet. But to the extent that they ideologically can break or actually pulling the lever for a vote, that's us for about half the Republicans out there. Half of their party is complaining now about their wussy congressional leaders. They would like stand-up leaders in Congress. Libertarians are stand-up. Okay? A lot of people in this very room have been arrested for civil disobedience. Almost everyone in this room has a principle that they will stand for. We should be attracting those and the independents who don't like either party. We're up to 44% of the under 50 crowd is in that category, 44%. And I think what has not been addressed by this convention enough that allows us to cleave into the Republicans is the culture. The culture, I think we can attract, and we have candidates here who would do a good job. We might try to woo some candidates from the outside for governorships, for state house seats, maybe for congressional runs. I'm not asking anyone who's running here to stand aside for them, but maybe it's worth wooing. I would like to see us woo. She's not too far away right now. Michelle Bachmann. The woman was lockstep with Ron Paul. She started the Tea Party movement along with him. She's got, I think, 8 kids, 6 of them adopted. I mean, she could join Josh Smith on a PVP ticket with 15 kids combined. That's family values, and the culture has been neglected. We don't talk enough here, and I think we should out on the hustings, about sex trafficking. And we can clean that up in 2 months. And I say that because what's protecting against the pervs right now is that some of them are in the Democrat and the Republican parties, and they don't want to crack down. I don't think we have pervs in our payroll. We can be fervent about women's rights. The policies that have let male athletes into girls-only events and into girls' locker rooms are so perverse. They're illogical to start, but they are offensive. They make half of America, the females, uncomfortable. And it's not just the Biden administration. This started under Trump, okay? I ran for governor in Connecticut in 2017, and even then, there were 2 lauded athletes for their supposed bravery, high school males, who were beating in almost every race the best females out there, okay? Yes, it's the equivalent of letting 20-year-olds compete in an under-12 competition. We should be calling that out in the name of girls' rights. I think there's silly school policies that we need to be calling out on even more. I know we talk about getting out of education, privatizing it, but for those stuck in bad schools who can't get out yet, they can't afford homeschooling yet, and we can't, unfortunately, get rid of the teacher unions yet. What we can do is make sure that we have candidates who are going to go toe-to-toe next year in school board elections and town council elections. Take a look, please, at a short video of Shonda Cooper from Virginia taking down, she's badass against the school board. And I call them school board moms who can be very effective. Governor Youngkin got elected because of them. Now, he's not a good guy. He made his wealth anyway in the defense industry. But I'm saying this as an electability and a fairness and a logic issue that are all good for us. The culture matters. I'll finish with something legal. Article 1 matters. Article 1, Section 8 limits the power, as you know, but not enough Americans know, of what Congress can do. Nancy Pelosi doesn't know. But ladies and gentlemen, a good vice president whose only duty is to preside over the U.S. Senate, a good vice president sits there and makes sure not a single piece of legislation sees the light of day if it is violative of Article 1, Section 8, which is the majority of what comes before Congress now. Okay? The Commerce Clause has been a supposed defense of doing anything. But why is the Commerce Clause there, and what should we be invoking to, as the Constitution says, regulate commerce? Regulate means make regular. It doesn't mean do it yourself, Congress, when it's the purview of individual states. Congress was meant to be involved as a dispute regulator between states for Congress. And how do you know this? Go Constitution 101. It is to, quote, regulate commerce between the states, among the foreign nations, and with the Indian Territory. Why are those three together? Because all three have the same backdrop, that it's Congress by default in a designed to be minimalist system. Federal government was not designed to be involved in a lot of things, and it couldn't possibly be involved in two of them, not regulating Indian tribes. We weren't going to go and say, ooh, the Massasoit marketplace has too many olives on sale. We weren't going to go and regulate what was being shipped from Marseille to Toulouse, France. And so we also, in the same clause, same fashion, we're not going to regulate how much was being produced and loaded on a truck from New Jersey going over to New York. The Commerce Clause has not been properly used, and with it, we've gotten monstrosities like Obamacare, Medicare, Social Security. All the candidates on this stage who want to get rid of those agencies that have committed all these deprivations, this is the way. To uplift the Commerce Clause, which means none of these agencies should exist. All right. My final, it's not a beef, it's a focus that I hope our presidential nominee will do. And by the way, this is the go big part, that I hope every person vying for high office will be a cabinet member nominee. That we leave this convention with not a president and vice president only, but we have a cadre of, at least 30 really good people, some of whom might be running in 2024, some who are pledged to run for state offices in 2025, maybe or local, and 2026 for statewide office, Congress, possibly even U.S. Senate. You are at the same time nominees as a potential cabinet secretary. And gosh, we have so much talent in this room, okay? 1,000 people here. There's 400,000 elected Republicans and Democrats across the United States. We have more brain power here, more passion here, more energy in this very room of fewer than 1,000 people. And on stage, you gotta enlist Clint, Larry, Jacob, and all the ones you saw in the morning. We want Chase, whatever happens in the presidential nomination. We want Mars. We want to have Michael and Mike and Joshua. Please make sure that they're involved. I didn't mean to leave out Lars. Sorry, didn't mean to leave out Michael Recknowals. Too much. The talent here, and even enlisting some people from the 2020 cycle. Remember Ken Armstrong? Big Ken with the best voice ever? He should be involved. Okay? There are a lot of really good libertarians for the taking that we should enlist on the hustings. All right. There is a strategy about winning not in November, but in December and January. I will do that in a different video. You can take a look at my suggested Go Big Cabinet by viewing epic-party.us. My thoughts on not necessarily as principled as libertarians, but popular, which is the one thing we don't have now. We've got everything else except a national big guy. Justin Amash is not even big enough. Sorry, you need better and bigger than a U.S. congressman. We can start recruiting them for governor and state house races, and maybe even for vice president, because my willingness to be on your ballot exists as long as there's nobody better for us. And upon a better candidate, okay, better speaker, better known, better attractor, taller, all these things, I am happy to be sitting down so that they can take that ball and run with it. Thanks for listening here. I'm Mark Stewart.